This game makes me sad.
Life's tough.
When you're in PC.
Life's rough.
When you depend on me.
To give you weapons, items, armor, information for your journey, and still you just push in and try to hurt me. Life's tough.
When you're in PC.
Life's rough.
There are many types of bad games out there, and games that'll make you angry. For instance, Antarete Kunst made me angry, and I consider it to be a bad game because the concept of it seems to be insulting gamers and insults the concept of gaming. I hate Leading Edge's Aliens because it takes one of my favorite concepts and absolutely ruins it. The game like Blood is bad because it made some very vital errors in its construction. Then there's games like Classroom Deathmatch that is bad because you know there's a good idea buried somewhere in there, which makes it even worse whenever you realize just how disappointingly bad it is. Classroom Deathmatch is brought to us by Atarashi Games, the same people who brought us Panty Explosion. So you know they're going to ring in the classy on this one. The premise of the game is taken directly from the popular book, manga, and Japanese movie known as Battle Royale. In it, 50 high school students battle to the death in a gladiatorial-style combat until only one remains. You are given a backpack full of items, a weapon, and an island where you can duke it out with the others. Everything is taken from the source material, including the map style, game systems, the way that the general plot is structured, and the setting. While the PDF itself does not give away that this game is basically just a couple of friends' homebrew turned into an RPG, the warning signs are all over the place. A purposeful refusal to address divergent gameplay by stalwartly stating that a game needs to be played a certain way, the creator's certain way. The notebook paper-style backdrop, a game system that can theoretically work, yet shows little working knowledge of a system that can work with a larger group of people, and instead is just mainly focused on a very small group of friends who have built up this system over time. The strange artwork, and then there is the crown fucking jewel of this whole thing that I'll hold off on for the time being, because I want to avoid spoilers here. But trust me, it is something that will truly get your panties in a bunch. Where to even start with this thing? I really hate especially picking on small-time developers, but even so, this game fails on just about every single conceivable level. Alright. Let's start with the most obvious, the artwork. I really don't like to pick on someone who clearly put a lot of work into the artwork, but whoever did the artwork is not the greatest at drawing faces. Body shape, structure, and so forth, they're fine. But as far as the range of human emotion, it is a little odd. Take a look at some of these people protesting. This looks like the most disinterested group of protesters I have ever seen. Yeah, this sucks. Down with the government. Stop the killing. Stop. Now. Or how about these kids who are in a deathmatch and look like they are about to take an algebra test? They look like they're about to fall asleep, not go out and kill their friends. Or this one's my personal favorite. Look how gosh darn happy everyone is in this scene. Both the assailant and the hostage are just stoked as hell to be there. Come on! You're being held hostage. You have a gun to your head. You're not getting your prom picture taken. You don't react to the situation where you could theoretically die at any second with a face that says, I wish it could get better from here, but it only gets worse. While I can applaud the game for having a quick and easy system to learn, just because it is quick and easy to learn does not make it good. Aside from special abilities that can give you a certain boost in certain areas, most of the game falls into the category of one of the 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water, as well as an additional one with void/fear. They're sort of interchangeable in the book. And they are known as, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Godai elementals. Your Godai is basically your ability in this game that allows you to roll a die. You spend a Godai in the category that is applicable to the situation. air being representative of a wise decision, fire being a passionate or attack-based decision, water being an adaptive decision, earth being a stalwart decision, and void/fear being a decision based on fear. You can get a certain number of points in each category, starting at 9, then to 7, to 5, to 3, and then lastly to 1. How do you gain these things back once you use them? Well, you don't. Once you are out, your character can no longer use an action in that particular field for the rest of the game. So what happens in this game if you used up all your air tokens? Does that mean you can no longer use your innate human ability to comprehend your surroundings and make a wise decision? What if you run out of fear? Does that mean your character can no longer feel fear for the rest of the game? This makes no sense from a purely human standpoint. Yes, you're in an intense situation, and you might find yourself losing bits of your humanity. I get that, but there is a line between being so traumatized by your situation that you can no longer feel fear, and not being able to feel fear because the game is so ill-created that it won't let you do a simple human emotion that might be necessary to that person. And this makes no sense from a mechanical standpoint either. The book actually does state that the reason that you don't get this stuff back is because you need to be adaptive and you need to adapt. But here's the thing. The sections are so ill-conceived, they're so ill-defined, that you can basically just talk your way into using any action that you want to do the same thing. This isn't that fucking hard. You want to attack, but you're out of fire. Well, all you have to do is say that it's a wise decision to attack, and you can use air. Or that you're standing your ground against a foe. You can use earth. Or you're adapting to your surroundings, so you can use water. The system is just so arbitrary and so ill-defined that it's rendered absolutely pointless. You might as well just say that you have 25 dice rolls to get through this game, and once you spend them, that's all she wrote. What happens whenever you spend all 25? Well, you basically can't do anything. You're essentially a vegetable until someone comes around to kill you. And I get it, you want to go with the Godai elements because it is a Japanese-inspired game, hence the addition of those dice mechanics and the use of the Chinese zodiac in character creation. I get the motif and I can see how you want to implement it. But purpose is all well and good, you have to execute it well. And speaking of gameplay, this is an area that you have to cover whenever you're covering this type of gameplay, is that there can only be one mentality in how you handle that situation in a game that is supposed to be co-op. Battle Royale, just like the Hunger Games, just like any other plot that follows this premise, equates to the same thing. People join forces to try to escape Hell X. Shuya Nanahara, Noriko Nakagawa, and Shoga Kawada join forces to survive the program in Battle Royale. Katniss Everdeen and Peeta Mellark find a way to survive the events of the Hunger Games. The entire premise of these stories is that a group of people join together to survive when the rules are clearly stacked against them that states very clearly that there can only be one winner that gets to go home. And this is a huge problem whenever you're playing a game that is tailored to a group of people playing together. So what happens in this scenario? Well, what is stopping someone from going rogue and killing the rest of their players? There is a win condition where if you're the only one standing, you win the game. So even though you all might be working together, there is a possibility that one can actually see a situation, kill their friends, and call it a day. How do you handle this? Other games do not intrinsically put PCs against one another, or at least the concept alone doesn't. Storytellers and players can play a game as they see fit, but for this type of setting, it is essential to the plot, the story, and the game that characters are pitted against one another, at least to an extent. Thus, if a player wants to win, they can kill those next to them. This does not mean the premise cannot be done, but it does mean that there are some precautions that need to be taken. Maybe explanations on how you can escape the game without turning on your friends, or discouraging killing PCs for the sake of playing a game with a bunch of people around a table. That way the storyteller doesn't have to tell the group of 4 to 6 individual stories that can come to a head at any moment of the game. So what does this game do? Does it discourage killing PCs, saying that it's probably a very bad idea? Does it encourage you to escape the island with your friends? Nah, it doesn't really do anything. It pretty much encourages killing just by sheer virtue of existing and not acknowledging its existence. If there is any example of a game that works for a group of friends but might not necessarily work for the rest of the world, this is it. I'm sure this worked well for the creators and their friends playing. I'm sure that this vision was very well constructed by the creators, and they were able to tell it to their friends, who were able to give proper feedback because they knew each other and they knew how each other would act. However, this just doesn't work for everybody else whenever you're playing a game for the masses, or it doesn't work as well as it should. So let's say that you're going with the traditional tabletop route where everyone at the table is working together. There is nothing stopping a player from going rogue near the end and killing their friends, leaving them and one or two NPCs. If you're going the individual route, then the storyteller is juggling 3 to 8 different people, some of which who will only work together for a short bit of time, some of the people who will never even come across one another, and then have conflict with one another directly. Meaning for long swaths of time, it will be the storyteller talking to 1 or 2 people, while the others just kind of sit and listen, or don't. Who the hell knows? And this game doesn't lend itself to like a forum style or a video style like you see with World of Darkness, where people record their games and put it on as part of this larger community. This game seems tailor-made for the tabletop experience. So let's say that you are going the individual route and you have 2 to 6 individual stories being balanced in the works. What this basically means is that you get to play this game for about 10 minutes and then it has to shift gears to somebody else. And so the storyteller is juggling, let's say, 4 different people. You probably get to play for 10 minutes and then you have to wait for another 10 minutes for each player. So that's 30 minutes of boredom. 10 minutes of fun, 30 minutes of boredom. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And it gets even worse if you add more characters. It just falls flat. Oh, Jesus Christ. There's so many things to be disappointed in. Alright. What about character creation? Like, the character sheets look easy enough. I mean, maybe this game can redeem itself a little bit. Maybe it can... Oh. There isn't one. There is no character creation.
Disappointed!
Holy hell! How do you fuck this up? How do you choose not to do character creation? One of the most fun and immersive aspects of a game. How can you choose not to do character creation? This is like having a board game without any pieces, or macaroni and cheese and you forget the pasta, or have a car without wheels. You have removed an intrinsic aspect of gaming. Want to know why the Indiana Jones adventure game is considered to be one of the worst of all time? One of the reasons is because there's no character creation. Character creation is the most immersive experience in a game. It is the moment you create your character to roleplay in this world, to interact in this world. It is inserting a person into this world that you have created, that you feel a connection to. Character creation is actually relatively simple. I don't need the book to tell me how to do it. You take your Go Die elements and you rank them 9 to 7 to 5 to 3 to 1. You choose your special abilities and you choose your zodiac sign, and the rest is pretty much fluff. But here's the thing. It doesn't matter how easy it is whenever the book explicitly states that you should use their pre-generated characters in the back of the book. That is right, not only are you not supposed to create your own character, or the game master is allowed to create their own characters. The book outright states that you should use the characters made by them to fit the narrative. You can certainly make your own characters, or you can rename them. The system is simplistic to a fault. It wouldn't be hard, but that isn't the issue. The issue is that this game itself is explicitly stated that you shouldn't, and you should only play the game the way the creators want it to be played. This game is clearly a miss. It's a massive miss. And the thing is that it's a tragic miss. Because I really wanted to like this game. I really wanted a game like this to be created, to be out there. This has so much potential to it. But clearly, this game just fails on every level imaginable, to the point that you can't even give it a passable rating if you tried. And so, with that, I'm calling it a day. I'm tapping out. It's a miss. Have a good one.